Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into the world of homeschooling.
Yeah, figuring out what you really need to know if you're thinking about getting started.
Exactly. We've gone through a stack of guides and articles like Your Guide to Successful Homeschooling to really map this out for you.
And our mission really is to kind of cut through all the information out there. We want to pull out the key stuff, the legal bits, curriculum, community, just the practical things you need to understand.
Make it less overwhelming, right?
I-
Because it seems like homeschooling has just, well, exploded.
Oh, definitely. Especially since around 2020, the sources really highlight that growth.
And the reasons are so varied. I mean, academics, bullying concerns, mental health, cultural or religious reasons, supporting neurodivergent kids.
Or just wanting that really tailored, individualized learning path. It's a huge range.
It really is, which
Wow.
makes understanding the basics even more important now.
Absolutely. So let's unpack it.
Okay, first things first.
Yeah.
The absolute foundation. Is homeschooling even legal in the U.S.? Can you just decide to do it?
So, based on everything we looked at, yes. Plain and simple, it's legal in all 50 states.
Okay, good start. But the guides immediately throw in a big but, don't they?
They do. It's legal everywhere, yes, but how it works, that changes dramatically depending on where you live.
Right. State-by-state differences. That seems like the biggest hurdle right off the bat.
It's probably the most critical thing to grasp early on. What you need to do, who you need to tell, what kind of oversight there might be. It's all down to your state's specific laws.
Some states want notifications, maybe
Yeah.
curriculum plans, even testing.
Yeah, or evaluations. And then you have other states where the regulations are, incredibly minimal.
And the sources pointed to places to check that out, right?
Well,
For your specific state.
Yes, definitely. They mentioned the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, HSLDA. They've got a great clickable map on their website, state by state.
Oh, that's handy.
Very. And also the National Home Education Research Institute, NHERI. They're good for research data, policy updates, that kind of thing.
So checking those is really step one. You got to know the rules of the road for where you live.
Exactly. Everything else kind of flows from that state framework.
Okay, now, the question I bet everyone wonders about, and it's in the guides too, do I need a teaching degree? Do I need to be a certified teacher?
Right. And the answer, for most people, based on these sources, is actually no.
No.
Right.
Really? So what do you need then? Is there any requirement?
Often it's just having a high school diploma or maybe a GED.
That's it?
In many states, yes. And the guides point out that in some places, you don't even need that.
Wow. That's much less daunting than I think people imagine. They gave Texas as an example, right?
Yeah, Texas, no teaching credential needed. You don't have to report your curriculum.
Mhm.
It really shows that low regulation end of the spectrum.
So some states really lean into parental rights and flexibility.
That's the impression, yes. Less focus on formal credentials.
Okay, so state laws checked, probably no degree needed. What's next? Do you have to tell someone officially, like the state or the child's old school?
Again, this loops right back to how much regulation your state has. The sources kind of group states into categories, which helps.
Right, the low, moderate, and high regulation states.
Yeah.
How does notification work in those?
So in those low regulation states like Texas or Idaho we mentioned, you might just need to tell the school your child is leaving. Sometimes there's no formal notification needed at all beyond keeping your own records.
Okay, and moderate.
Think states like, say, North Carolina. There you probably need to file some kind of notice with the state, and you might have to submit, maybe annually, things like your curriculum outline or standardized test scores, a bit more paperwork.
And then the high regulation states,
Yeah.
like New York or Massachusetts. Sounds like more involvement there.
It usually is. The sources suggest those states might require detailed curriculum approval, maybe track attendance more closely, possibly even involve home visits or formal assessments by educators, more direct oversight.
Gotcha. But across all these, there was one piece of advice about withdrawing from a current school that seemed universal.
Yes, absolutely. Always, always send a formal written letter of withdrawal to the child's current school.
Why is that so important?
It just ensures they're officially unenrolled, prevents any confusion, avoids potential truancy flags, legal hassles down the line. It's simple, but really crucial.
Makes sense. Okay, super practical. So you've done legal checks, sent the letter. Now the big one. What do you actually teach? What are the options for curriculum?
This is where the sources really emphasize the flexibility. There's a huge amount of choice here. It's definitely not one size fits all.
So you could just buy a whole package, right? Like a complete curriculum in a box.
Totally. Lots of families do that, especially when starting out. makes it feel more manageable. The guides mention names like Time for Learning, Oak Meadow, The Good and the Beautiful, those kinds of structured programs.
But what if you want to do your own thing? Maybe focus on your kids' specific interests.
You absolutely can. That's another major pathway highlighted. Designing your own curriculum, tailoring it completely. You can align it with state standards if you want, or go in a totally different direction based on your child.
And what about cost? Are there free options? Because buying a full curriculum can be pricey.
Oh yeah, tons of free resources are mentioned. Khan Academy is a big one, especially for math and science.
Right, I've heard of that.
Also things like Ambleside Online, which uses classic books. Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool is literally a complete free online curriculum.
Hmm.
And CK12 for science and math stuff. Lots of good free material out there.
And generally, states are okay with this variety as long as you cover the basics, like reading, math.
Usually, yes.
Yeah.
The core subjects, reading, writing, math, science, social studies, tend to be the main requirement. Then things like art, music, PE, languages are often flexible additions.
The sources also touched on other methods, didn't they, like less traditional ones?
They did. Briefly mention things like unschooling, which is very child-led, following their interests wherever they lead.
Right, learning through living almost.
Kind of, yeah. And project-based learning, too. Moving away from that textbook structure towards deeper dives into specific topics.
Lots of personalization possible.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift to the admin side. Record keeping. Is that something everyone needs to worry about, even in those relaxed states?
The sources strongly recommend it, yeah. Even if your state doesn't legally require detailed records, it's just wise.
Wise how? Like just for yourself?
For yourself, definitely, to track progress, but also just to have documentation. Proof of education, if you ever needed it for any reason, transferring back to school, college applications later, whatever.
Okay, so what kind of records are we talking about? What should you keep?
Simple stuff, mostly. Maybe an attendance log, just showing you had regular learning days. A list of books and main resources used.
Yeah.
Samples of your child's work, writing, projects, tests if you do them. And maybe like a brief yearly summary of what you covered and how they progressed.
That sounds like it could get messy quick. Any tips for organizing that?
Yeah, the digital age helps. The guides suggest tools like Homeschool Planet or Trello. Basically, online planners designed for homeschoolers or just general organization apps can work great.
Good tip. Now, a really big concern that comes up a lot. Isolation. Are you just stuck at home alone if you homeschool? Is it lonely for the parent and the kid?
That's a huge myth, honestly. And the sources are clear. Absolutely not. Homeschooling doesn't mean doing it in a vacuum.
So how do people connect? What are the options?
Lots of ways. Local homeschool co-ops are really popular.
Co-ops. What exactly is that?
It's basically groups of homeschooling families getting together. They pool resources, maybe parents teach classes in subjects they know well, or they chip in to hire tutors for certain things.
Oh, okay. So kids get different teachers and socialize. Parents share the load.
Exactly. Great for community for both parents and kids. Then there are things called microschools or pods.
Right. Heard those terms more recently?
Similar idea. Small groups of families, maybe they hire one teacher to work with their little group, either full-time or for specific subjects.
And then there's just finding other homeschoolers, right? Online or locally.
For sure. Facebook groups are huge for local connections, support networks. Even sites like meetup.com sometimes have homeschool park days or field trip groups listed.
Plus those national resources we mentioned earlier, like HSLDA.
Yeah, they often have connections or resources. HSLDA for legal help, NHERI for research. The Coalition for Responsible Home Education's CRHE, they have guides. And OutSchool was mentioned, too.
OutSchool? What's that?
It's a platform with tons of live online classes on almost any topic imaginable, taught by independent teachers. Lots of homeschoolers use it to supplement or for electives.
Wow. Okay, so definitely not alone. There's a whole ecosystem out there.
A very active one, yeah.
So you've got the legal side figured out, curriculum ideas, organization tools, community support. With all that, how does a family actually decide? Is homeschooling the right move for them?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The guides offer some really good reflective questions to help families think through that. It's a big decision.
What should you be asking yourself?
Well, first, look at your child's current situation. Honestly, are they thriving where they are? Or are they struggling academically, maybe socially, emotionally?
Okay, makes sense. What else?
Think about your family's reality. Can you realistically manage a consistent learning routine at home? It takes structure, even if it's flexible.
And the parents' role.
Right. Do you have the time, the energy, the patience, or do you have a support system, a partner, family, co-op to help make it feasible? It doesn't all have to fall on one person, but someone needs to facilitate.
And focusing on the child again.
Yeah. Would your specific child benefit from that one-on-one attention? Or a different pace? Are there unique needs, safety concerns, cultural alignment, maybe neurodiversity, where homeschooling could be a really positive solution?
Those are deep questions. It really forces you to personalize the decision.
Exactly. And the sources acknowledge, look, it can feel totally overwhelming, especially at the beginning.
But they offer encouragement too, right?
Yeah, loads of it. They stress that thousands and thousands of families do this and do it well. And crucially, they do it without being certified teachers or having some perfect Pinterest-worthy classroom setup.
So what is the most important ingredient, according to the guides?
It really comes down to your love for your child, being present with them, and your commitment to their learning journey. That's highlighted as way more important than credentials or fancy materials.
That really resonates with that John Holt quote they included. Can you remind us?
Yeah, it's powerful, Holt said. What is most important and valuable about the home as a base for children's growth into the world is not that it is a better school than the schools, but that it isn't a school at all.
It isn't a school at all.
Oh.
That's interesting. It's not about trying to be school 2.0 at home.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that the home environment itself, its intimacy, its flexibility, its connection to real life, that's its unique strength. It offers something different from institutional schooling.
Different kind of learning ecosystem.
Precisely. Not necessarily better or worse, but fundamentally different.
Okay, so let's try and wrap up the key takeaways from this deep dive into the source material. Homeschooling.
Yeah.
Definitely legal across the U.S., but you absolutely have to check your specific state's rules. They vary a lot.
Right, and you probably don't need that teaching degree. Curriculum. Tons of options, from fully packaged to totally DIY, plus lots of free stuff online.
And importantly, you're not signing up for isolation. There's a huge community out there, co-ops, pods, online groups, local meetups.
Definitely. And the guides really drive home that success isn't about having a perfect setup or professional background. It's more about your family's needs, your commitment, and using that unique home environment.
Remembering that John Holt idea, the value isn't being a better school, it's being not a school.
Yeah, leveraging that difference.
So, thinking about all this,
Yeah.
a huge range of reasons parents are now choosing homeschooling academics, yes, but also mental health, safety, neurodiversity support, that desire for something fundamentally different. And coupling that with Holt's idea that the home's value is its difference from school, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What does this whole trend, this surge towards homeschooling, really tell you about what different kids might actually need to flourish in learning today?